Today I'm going to do a video on how to set development environment, how to set it up on with how to set a React Native development environment hub. We're gonna go up from here step by step on how to actually get to that page or to that stage where you can actually start coding and developing whatever application you want to develop. So basically, the requirement is so simple. You have a system that has a Node.js on it installed, and if you have a Node.js installed on your system, then you're good to go. The next thing you're going to install Xcode CLI. Okay, before I get to Xcode CLI, I would just like to say something about the two options that you can use to create a React Native application. One is Xcode CLI Quick Start, and the second one is React Native CLI Quick Start. These are the two options React Native is giving to us to use. So it depends on what you want to do, but basically the simplest of all is the Xcode CLI Quick Start, because you don't have to do a lot of setup. They've already helped you to cut away all the setups you are supposed to do on your own. They make it easier and simpler for you to use. Unlike the React Native CLI Quick Start, there are so many configurations you may have to do. If you're working on Mac OS or Windows or Linux, Android and iOS, you have to do all these installations yourself. If you're working on iOS, you have to use the port. You have to install local port. Of course, when you're using Xcode CLI, you also need Xcode, but it's simpler. It's not that difficult. All you need to do is just to install Xcode on your system, the latest version of Xcode on your system. I already have Xcode on my system, which is here. I already have Xcode on my system, installed on my system. So I advise you also do that. You also install. Without that, you will not be able to use a simulator. So after you've installed Xcode and it's working perfectly well, the version I have on my system is 12.2. So once you have it installed on your system and it's working perfectly well, then you're good to go. So after which you will have to run this command line. You have to run this and install this on your system globally. Once you install it globally one time, you don't have to install it all over again. It's just one time installation, and that will be all for your system is set up. To use Expo. Also, this is the command you need to create a new project. This command. So we're going to start now. Then I'm going to open my command line. Then I've already set it to the folder I want to have my project in. So I'm going to paste what I just copied now. Export init. Now I'm going to change the name, because this is not the name I want to give my project. And also I will be working today on just a simple login page and how to set it up. Today I'm just going to be focused on setting up the design. I'm not going to go into details as to the logic behind logging in. I'm going to do that on my next video, but this video is basically just to set up the UI, and that will be all. So I'm going to call it RN React Native login tutorial. Login tutorial 2. I think I have one already, so I'm going to do that, and it's going to ask me. Let me increase this. This so you can see very well. So it's going to ask me, do I want to start my development in a blank mode, or blank TypeScript and tab TypeScript, minimal. This section here is called beer workflow. That means when you say beer workflow, basically is not helping you to set any configuration. You're going to set it all by yourself. But when you use these three options up here, you already manage your workflow for you. The React Native already set up whatever you need to kickstart your project. It already set it up for you. But basically, what I usually use here is blank. I don't use this two. I just stick with blank, which gives me exactly what I need. And I believe every new beginner to React Native should also use Blank because it gives you a minimal app, like a minimal app as clean as empty canvas, you know. So you have a clean slate to develop whatever you want to develop in. So it's pretty much easier for you to use Blank. But if you're that type of program developer or programmer that uses TypeScript, then you can go for TypeScript. So we're going to be using this today. I'm going to press enter on it, and it's going to do its run its course, you know, setting up the installation, the project file for me, all the packages, using npx to install all the packages and everything and the whole JavaScript dependencies. So as that is going on, we just have to wait for it to finish the installation and all the packages we need to start the project. It's going to take a little bit, so we just have to wait for it. Yeah. So now it has created it for us. So what we need to do now is we need to set it into that folder we just created. So I'm going to set it into rm React. I think I actually wrote it twice. Okay, anyway, it's okay. React Native login tutorial. So I'm gonna write Xcode, and it's gonna open the project for me. So I don't need this anymore, so I can close this. So, but right now it's opening all the. So what we're gonna do right now is so simple. All I need to do is just have to go to where I have it, which is here. And I go to React Native, and I have rm. I drop it here, and I have my project opened. Now, like I said, it's going to give you a clean slate, like a canvas, which is what it is right now. So you're going to see it when we open it on a simulator. Yeah, this is the part that you have to make sure that your Xcode is installed and you're good to go with the Xcode. Otherwise, your simulator will not work. Your simulator will not work if your Xcode is not properly installed. So once you install your Xcode, then your simulator is going to be able to work. So what we're going to do now is we're going to open our terminal, and we're going to write expo start. That's the command, not npm. You can use npm start, but since we are using expo, so let's just use expo start. So when we click enter, it's going to launch it on the website, like usually how we have our React project launch, how we have all the, you know, once you npx create React app, you know, it just gives you all, even the React Redux tool, it just gives you this you just come to this web page. But now you can see the interface is quite different from from React and Redux. So now what you're going to do is it's giving you options here as to what you can use to open this application. You run it on Android device emulator, you can run it on iOS simulator, you can run it on web browser, you can send a link to an email, and someone somewhere else can actually be following you up, looking at what you're designing. As you're designing, is helping you as you're designing the thing. The person can actually be somewhere else interacting with your application, and as you are still designing it, still in the development mode, right? So you can use this option, and this is when you want to publish your project. Publish or republish your project. We are not going to get there today also. So I'm going to select, you can select here to open in your simulator, or you can select it in your terminal in your VS Code. So let's just use this one. And also, before I go, this QR code, what it does actually is very simple. If you take up your phone camera and you open your phone camera and you scan this QR code, if you have Expo CLI app on your phone, it's going to open your project straight on your phone through Expo CLI application app on your phone. So that is what this QR code is for. But now we're going to go use this. So we're going to minimize. We don't have to use the browser again. So we just CLI. It's loading. So it's loading the JavaScript bundle now. It's building it up. Yeah, almost done. Almost done. Yeah, we're right there. Almost done. Almost done. Yeah, 3% more. Oh, wow, we're finally here. So this is what it's going to give. This is the first page you're going to see. Open app.js to start. It's telling you where to start from. So these are our app.js now, and this is where you have this text line of text you have here. This is it here, right here. So what we're going to do now is we're going to create our own application. So the first thing I'm going to do around is to take out this part, take it out. And the first thing we need to do now is also to cut away this container, the content. We don't need it. We have to put our own content. So do it this way. Everything is a plain canvas, right? So what we need to do now also, we take out this. We don't need this also. So the first thing is I want to list out all the things I need on the website, on the home page. I need the input text. I need the button, the login button, and I need some other components on the app on the home page. So the first thing I'm going to write now is a welcome note, which I'm going to use a text for, and I'm going to say hello. I can do something here. If I want to break down the line, I can use this, something like this. See, I can use something like this, and I write this. I think I need to use a quote like this, yeah. And I said, hello, full stop. Well, welcome back again. And if I save it, note that it's right up right here. We can actually use something to prevent that from happening, which is it's called save from React Native. It's called save view. So if I use a save view, I think it's save view. This is save view. Yeah, save area view. Sorry, save area view. So if we use save area view, it's going to push. You see now it pushes it back. But that's not what I want to use in this project, because if I use that save area view, this topmost part of the font is going to be white, which I don't want. I want the background color to cover everything from top to bottom. I don't want to have a part that is not uniquely not with the color is not unique. So I'm not going to use save area. I can still leave it now right here just for you to see what I'm talking about later on. So we're going to continue now, and we have the text already now. So we're going to have also the username and password, the text input. So we're going to have username. I'm going to copy that line and I'm going to write password. Yeah, and also I'm going to have okay, let's leave it as this now. So this is what we have, but we don't have a text input yet, right? So each username, each of these should have a text input. So I'm going to write this text input, also from React Native. So okay, sorry, text input is a self-enclosed tag, so do not forget that. Now it's throwing an error. Why? Because my text input, it can't find text inputs because I don't have it imported. So all I need to do is to just copy this and have it here pasted, and that's all. So I have text input, so I can lift this. No, what am I doing? Text. So I can copy this text input, Control C, and I can have it down here again so that we have text input. Now you're not seeing it on the screen because we need to style it for us to see it, right? So after that down one, what we need to do now is let's give it a style so we can see what we're even working with on the app, right? So to style, I'm going to style this container. I'm going to start this my container, and the things I'm going to have inside is I'm going to have flex of 1. I'm going to have flex of 1. And I'm going to have background color of, okay, now I always love to have the component or the variables or the element that I always want to use and over again in my application. I always want to have it in a global state so that I can always use it all around my application. So I'm going to create something. I'm going to put all my colors in one GX file. On JS file, so I can always reuse them. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to create a folder called constants, and I'm going to have a color inside, colors.js, and I'm going to export it by default. I'm going to export it by default. I'm going to have I already have all this color somewhere else. Just bear with me. Let me get it out from where I have been, so I don't have to do too much of copying. So this is where I'm going to get it now. I have all the colors somewhere, so it's going to be pretty much easier for me to work with, instead of me just just recording it all over again. It's going to be too much, right? So we want to, as much as possible, make this tutorial so brief. So okay, now I have it. So the first thing is, I want, for my buttons, I want to have this color code for my buttons. I want to have this color code for my buttons. It's 2487FF. That's blue, right? And I'm going to have, for my small text, I'm going to have this. I'm going to have A6, which is a little bit light gray. And I'm going to have my border line. So whenever I'm applying border line to something, or border to something, I want to emphasize on the borders. I can use this color to do that. And I want to have, for my big text, I want to have this color. I want to have this color is 171717. And I want to have for my background, I want to have this color also. It's FAFAFA. Okay. And for my small prints, okay, you may be saying, I thought you said for your small text you already have a color for it. Yeah. Also, there are variants. So there are some that I want to have to emphasize more, and I want their color to be darker than the other ones. So now this is what I need for this. So I haven't had that. So what I'm going to do next now is import that particular color import it into my app folder, app component. So this is how you import. Simply just import, give it a name. It can be any name. Just give it a name. All the colors from. Now you have to be careful to check what folder are you getting it from constants, and just one file right there, right? So you have it done, and that's it. Now it's okay. Now don't worry about that. It's complaining about this error here. So now the background color should be color.bg, which is this one, and it's just a little bit of white. It's not that white, you know. And if you notice very well, it's just so faint, you can't really see. The top part is lighter than this part. But anyway, you can't say it because it's too, you can't say it. If I give it another color, let's say I use this color now. Let's say I use big text. Let's say we use this color. Let's see if it's going to change. Oh wow, even the save area is still flood everything, which is nice. Oh wow, that's nice. So you can actually use save area view. You still have the same um the same thing even if you use view, which is very perfect then. Okay, let's go back to it. So now what we need to do next is we already have it. So we already gave it a background color. We're going to give it a padding vertical. A padding vertical. That means at the top and at the bottom, you want to give it a padding there. Instead of you doing padding top, padding right, padding bottom, you mean padding vertical just give it the same effect. It's one line. Instead of you using two lines to achieve a particular purpose, you're using only just one line, and it's giving you exactly what you want. You know. So padding vertical is 80, and padding horizontal, you make it 40, so that you can be padding on the sides. You can be padding on the side. So the padding on the side, I'm setting that to 40. Okay, now it's not working. Something is not working here. The reason is because it's not working because the things I'm putting is not showing here, and I'm wondering why. We're gonna get to that now. Let's just see if there's anything we're not doing right. This container, and save area. Okay, let's change this to view and let's see. You see, so that is view. So it's best to be on the safe side. Just use view, so that you don't complicate things. Just use view. You know, see all the things we put, all the properties we set, and it's not even showing, all because we're using save area view. So, guys, just stick with views. Okay, you may say, okay, but your text is going into the upper part of the phone. Yeah, just what you need to do is just set all these parameters, and you centralize all your content, and you don't have that to worry about. So that being said, so we've done that. So let's now start all the components we have. Okay, for this text, I rather want it this way. And there's a reason, so that it can be flexible enough for me to style, because I really want to style them flexibly. And also, what I'm going to do also for those two texts is I'm going to put the two texts in one view, inside one view, so that I can, for me to achieve the exact style I want to achieve. So I'm going to cut it, I'm going to put it in just one view. And once I put it in just one view, I want to style that view now. And I'm going to call that view, the style. I'm going to call the style header title. I'm going to copy this to make it faster for me. I'm going to say header title. And I'm going to copy this. I'm going to go to my container, and I'm going to say paste it, and I'm going to write this block of code. What I basically want is very simple. What I want to just style there is just to push it down a little bit away from the top. So I'm going to say margin vertical, and I'm going to set my margin vertical to what? To 50. I'm going to set it to 50. I'm going to write it this way. I'm going to set it to 50, and it pushes it down, right? So I'm going to go up again to here. I'm going to give them another style. I'm going to give the text another style. The reason is because if I style it from this level, the text from that level, properties like font size, like color, is not going to be applied to the text itself, because it's the container that I'm styling. I'm not styling the particular text. I want the effect on the particular text and not on the container. So it's better for me to style the particular text directly than just styling the parent. So I'm going to call this header text 1 and 2. You may be wondering, since it's just the same text, why am I calling it 1 and 2? The reason is because I want to push them away from each other also. So I need to give them different style names so that I'll be able to effect that change that I want to effect. That is why I'm having either text 1 and 2. You see what I'm trying to say now. So if I paste header text 1 and I start header text 1, pretty much you have the same property. It's just one property one has and the other doesn't have. So header text 1 is going to have a font size of 20, font size of, let's just say 24. And it's going to have font weight of 800. And it's going to have a color. Is it colors or color? I think it's colors. Color, oh, sorry. And I have colors dot big text because you already said for our big print we use this property. You see, you can see that it's too close. They are too close to themselves now. I want a little bit of space, and when I use line height, it's not giving me what I want exactly. So I actually have to maneuver myself. I mean, you may try line height and it may work for you, but for some weird reason, I tried to use it. Okay, maybe I should just try again, and no, it may just work now. So let me just try. And I say line height, and I give it 1. You see, so that's why I didn't use it. So I guess the width, the height of that element, once you get out of it, I don't know, for some weird reason it just keep doing that. So I don't want to bother myself about that because it's just tiring, right? If it's functionalities now and I can dig my head into it and make sure it works. So since it's just tiring, I mean, I can always achieve it in other ways. I don't have to bother myself too much on that. So I can just leave it. So now I want to space it. I'm going to give the border bottom 7 of. I'm going to give this the border bottom of 7. No, sorry, margin bottom, not border bottom. Margin bottom of 7. Okay, what's going on with my keyboard? So you see, I've gotten what I wanted. This is exactly what I wanted. This little space. So that I haven't said that. I haven't done that. So we go back to what is next to style, which is this this part, this input part. So I'm going to say this is done, right? So checklist, this is done. So now I want to put my username and its own input in one view. So this and this in one view. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to put this to cut it in one view. So I'm going to style that view and I'm going to call that view the middle. I'm going to call it the middle. This header, I'm going to call it the middle. Okay. What I want to do now, I have three. I segmented what I have, my content on my homepage into 3 parts. The header, one part, the input part, another part, the bottom part, which is the button, and create account is the third part. Because I'm going to use flex to apportion width, height to individual elements, individual components. But I'm not making them components in a way, but in a way that just 3 elements, 3 views in one page, right? So I'm going to do what I'm going to do. I'm going to call this top. I'm going to call this top, and I'm going to call this one. I'm going to call it. I'm going to call it top. I'm going to call this top. Let me get this down. I'm going to call this top, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to call this middle. I'm going to do this also. This also is inside. Okay. This is what I want to achieve. I'm going to create another view here that will house the password. which is this, else is this. Okay, now the buttons and every other one, I'm gonna, this is the part for the button, which is where you're gonna have, we're gonna use something called touchable opacity. I'm gonna explain that to you in a bit, what that means. I'm gonna explain to you in a bit. When we get to styling the button, then I'm going to tell you what that means. But for now, let's just leave it like that. When we get there, we're going to talk about it more explicitly. So I'm going to call this bottom. So touchable opacity. No, sorry, I think I mixed something up there. Touchable, this is going to be where I want to paste it. Touchable opacity, and inside of touchable opacity, I'm going to have a text. I don't want to use a button now. I don't want to use a button because of the effect I want to get. When you use a button, you can't. Sometimes you might have some technicality in styling a button from React. So I'm going to leave it this way. This way I can achieve exactly what I want to achieve. So I'm going to do something now. I'm going to top, bottom, top, middle, and bottom. And my bottom is supposed to be here. I'm going to give my bottom. I'm going to give my bottom a flex of 1.5. A flex of 1.5. And I'm going to give my top. I'm going to give my top a flex of let's say 1. Let's say 2. Let's say 2. A flex of 2. And I'm going to 2. Is 2 good? 2 top 2. Okay, good. Don't worry. And my middle is going to be, I'm going to give my middle a flex of 3, right? I think 3 will be fine. 2.5. Let's do 2.5. 2.5. Yeah, perfect. So now we can continue styling. So we've apportioned, we've divided the page, or vertically row-wise. We've given it 3 rows. So now we're going to style the middle part now, which is this part. So the first thing we need to do now, we need to give them class style names so that we can go down and style them. So for this text, I'm going to have this style for it. Let me just copy this and paste it here and call it text input title. Text input title. Text input title. And I'm going to, this one, I'm going to give it text input user. Text input user, right? Perfect. And I'm going to give this one text input password. Text input PSWD. And no, yeah, this is the way I'm supposed to put it. Control X is right here. So the name now, which is this one, text is going to be the same thing with this one also, because they're going to appear the same way. So I haven't done that. I think we can go down now to style them. So the first thing I want to style is this one. Let me just start this one so that it applies to both of them. V. So but I'm going to give it text input, right? I'm doing text input. I'm going to give it, first and foremost, I'm going to give it a color of small text. I'm going to give it a color, colors.small text. You see, color changes, right? I'm going to give it a font size because I want to make it small, very small, not that conspicuous. So I'm going to give it 8. And I'm going to give it also, I'm going to give it letter spacing. I feel like they're too tight together. I'm going to give it 1. Yeah. And I'm also going to give it text transform. I want it to be all in uppercase. Text transform. And I'm going to give it uppercase. Perfect. So I have that styled, which is brilliant, right? So we've done that part. So what we need to do next is the input, is the where you write things, when you input things, which is this one. Text input user and text input password. Text input user and password. So we have it here. Text input user and password. So for text input user, you may be wondering, why am I having it different if they are both text input? Yeah, because of the way I want to style my user UI. So that is why I'm actually having this, giving mostly everything style names, so I can style them and I can make it easy. That way it's easier for me to achieve exactly what I want to achieve. So I'm going to give this a border line. I'm going to give it a border bottom rather. I'm going to give it a border bottom width of 1 and check what happens. Boom, you have it there, right? We are seeing something physical, right? And I'm going to give the border bottom color. I'm going to give the border bottom color of colors dot borderline. You know, I don't want it to be in the face. And I'm going to give it padding vertical of 10, padding margin bottom of 60, padding vertical of 10, and margin bottom of 60. Pushes the password out, right? So that's perfect. So for the other ones, which is a text input password, I'm going to have it this way. Basically, they share similar properties. It's just this one I'm going to take out the margin, and that is all. That is all. That's what I want to do for that one. And what we have next now to style, I think we are pretty much done with. And we know, I think I want to give I want to add a text here that just shows, and you can show the password if you want to show the password, because the password is the password has this thing called security text entry, which is always set to true. So when you click on that show button here, it's going to be a text button though. So it's going to change the state of that text security text entry to false. That way you can see the password. Anyway, we're going to get to that when we start doing functionalities and styles. I'm sorry, functionalities and JavaScript, more of JavaScript like. So what we're gonna do now is but let's still put the text there so we can always do that, right? We can always, anytime we want to, we can always do that. So I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna bring it down. I'm gonna call this show. I'm gonna call this show. I'm gonna call the style show. That way I have it. So I'm gonna start the show style now. I'm gonna start the show style. I'm gonna start it down now. I'm gonna show before T. Yeah. You know what? Let me just type it. It's just a small text. So our show, we want to have position because we're making the position absolute. The reason why is because I want to be able to put it next to the input, right? Next to the input on the same line. Not to the password input, rather on the same line. So I'm going to set the position to absolute. So the absolute takes it out of the flow of the flow of the flow. It takes that of the flow, it makes it float, so you can actually do whatever you want to do, like move it to whatever position you want to move it to. But where I want to move it to is basically where I already said, right? So I'm going to say align. I'm going to tell it to align itself. Align yourself to flex end. Push it to the end of the flex. That's what I mean by flex end. You see? So now I'm gonna style the bottom. I'm gonna give it bottom of, let's give it 12. Let's see. Yeah, just right about there. And let's give it text transform. Let's make it uppercase. Text transform. Let's make it uppercase. So it's capital letter. That shows that now we need to reduce the font. Font is like screaming at us. So we need to give it maybe 10. Let's see. It's saying font size. Oh, sorry. Camel casing, guys. Camel casing. Always remember that. Camel casing. So we're going to give it a color also. We're going to give it a color. Dot BTN. Okay, now we have that, right? So what next we need to do now is we need to style our login button. But just before that, I want to the password part. I want to give it text also after the show. I want to put a line here which says forget password, so that we can use that one to generate a new password in case the user forgets a password or his or her password. So we can come to just right after the show. No, just come out of this whole place. Coming out of it. So we're saying here, just after. Let me see. Where can I possibly have it? Just after that flow. Still in the middle. We can have this. We can have this. And we can have 4. Guys, we can actually do something. We can just write it all in small letter. We can use text transform and say capitalize. Which will still give us the same thing. So we can have it this way, and we can just copy this, Ctrl C, and we paste it here. And we call it forget PSW. Forget PSWD text. And we call this today's also Ctrl C, Ctrl V, and say forget PST. So we're gonna style it now. We're gonna go down here. Forget. We're gonna go down here and say forget. Where do we have forget? We can put it here, just before the H. If we have any H here, just before the H. I like to always have everything in alphabetical order. That way, it makes your search easier. So you don't have to. So you know where you have every element. You know where you have every element. So you don't have to go searching for elements and searching for what's not. It just helps you organize your workflow. So you don't have to do too much of search when you just want to do something quickly. You just know right there where you have it. So flex end. Make it that, and I had to have color, and I set it color to colors dot small print. Yeah, small print. Let's use small print. Yeah, that color is good. And we margin vertical. I'll make it 20. Push it down, yeah. And we have font size. We'll make that to, like, let me say 10. 10, which is perfect, right? Forget password. Let's add a comma, a question mark there, because it's a question we're asking, right? So forget password. We can actually make it a little bit, add a little font weight to it. So we can make it a little bit heavy. Let's try 400. Oh no, we're not seeing anything, right? Let's try 600. Okay, that's not bad. And let's do our text transform like we said we're going to do. And we're going to say capitalize. You see? Boom. So now what we're going to do now, we're going to style the logo. That is what we need to style next. And what we need to style in the logo is pretty simple. We're just going to style the background, give it a color of blue, and reduce the font, and we make the width 100% of the parent. That's all we need to do for that. So we're going to copy this, we're going to reuse it here, and we'll call it login. Call this login. The text itself, we call it login text. Call it login text. Save it, and we go down to where we have login, and we can do all we need to do. So we can go to that will be after B, after C. Yeah, let's say yeah. We do this. So login, we're going to give it a width, like we said, a width of 100%. You're not going to see anything for now. You're not going to see nothing now. So let's give it a background color first. And you're going to see something now. Colors dot btn. You see? Perfect, right? So we're going to give it a padding of 10 so that we can have room inside. Yeah, we're going to give it a border radius. We're going to give it a border radius of, let's say, 5. Yeah, it's coming alive now, right? We're going to give it a shadow. We're going to give it a shadow. I want a little shadow, like just so that the button is coming out of the background, right? It's coming out of the whole page, like it's you could tell. Okay, now let's just do it so you can get what I'm saying. So I'm going to give it offset, and if the offset is actually an object which takes in the width. Let's set the width to 0, and let's set the height. So like, let's say 8. You're not going to see anything right now. Right now, until we had color and opacity, you know, shadow color. We can, let's give it the color of blue also, because that will make sense if we use blue. Dot btn. You're not seeing anything right now, I guess. So we're going to give it shadow opacity and shadow radius. Of 0.4. Now you see something, right? So shadow radius. So the shadow radius makes it blurry. It gives a little bit of blur. It's not making the shadow sharp. It's making it like blurry, you know. You see? It fades it out. And this is the effect we want to get. So now we're done with the container, the login container now. But let's style the login text itself. Let's style the login text itself. We're gonna give it we're gonna make it align itself to center. It moves to the center, and we're gonna change the color of the text too. We're gonna change the color of the text. Let's say we use let's use the BGD, the background color too. Let's just use, why is this showing error here? Oh, sorry, here there's supposed to be a comma. So we're going to reduce the font size to like 12. To like 12. And now we're done with that. So we need to create a text called, we need to have another text there. The text is going to read create account, and that will be after this. This is the bottom, right? So it's gonna be in the same view called bottom, with the style bottom rather. So we don't get it, or we don't bring it out of the equation. We want it inside of here, inside of the bottom. So we say create. Okay, we don't have to write capital. We can just say create account, and it comes in. So now we're gonna style this, and the style we're gonna give to it is we're gonna centralize it, and we're gonna reduce the size, and also we're gonna change the color of the font, and we're gonna do text transformer. You just capitalize. So I'm gonna copy C create here. And I'm gonna say align self, yeah, align to the center. We want you in the center, so we give it into this, make it into the center, right? So after which we gonna give it a margin vertical, so we can push it up away from the button. So we're gonna say margin vertical. We're gonna set it to 40. Let's try 40. Oh, I think this is okay. I mean, it's not close to the login button, and it's standing alone by itself, so we can tell that it's an entity on its own. So 40, I think 40 is good right there. And we can give it a font size. We can give it a font size of 10. We want to make it a little bit small. I mean, not anything in our face. We're going to give the color. We're going to give it a color of small print. So now we're gonna give it text transform. I'm gonna give it capitalize. So this is perfect. So this is what I intend to do today, and I think I achieved it a great deal. I mean, this is pretty much nice. This is what we want. I spoke about the touchable opacity. What it does is basically simple. When I click on the button, just check the effect it's going to give you. Look at the effect it's giving. This is why you use touchable opacity. If you take this out of the equation, if you save it now, if I click it, you're not going to see that effect. You see, you're not going to see that effect. So that is the effect this simple component from React Native gives you that effect, that nice effect. And also our password is not hiding now, but we want it to hide, right? All we need to do, I already told you then that we're going to use something called secure text entry. We're going to set it to true, and when we set our secure text entry to true, it's going to change that. So what we're going to do now, we go to our text here. We're going to give it that secure text entry, and we're going to set it to true. We're going to set it to true. You see, my password changed, right? It's now coded. So, guys, this is where I'm going to stop today. And next, in the next video, I'm going to be working on how we can actually use this. Like when we click, we have data that is going to be sent to back to our database, and it's going to be stored in our database. And when we are logging in, it's going to authenticate, like confirm if this user has an account with us, if it has created an account before or not. If the user has an account, it's going to log the user into the application. Otherwise, it's going to tell the user on what to do. So we're going to have a message here, an error message that's going to be displayed whenever any authentication rules are being breached. That is going to show here. And also, I'm going to create another page for sign up, for create an account. I'm going to use, when you click on this button, it's going to take you to that page. Okay, so thank you guys for your time. Thank you so much for your feedbacks. That I always know you always give me feedbacks, and I know that I always get feedbacks from you. Like, to me, when you criticize me, when you tell me things I need to do to better myself, I take it wholeheartedly. I take it with me, and I run with it, and I make it a part of me. And that in a way changed me for better. So I don't see critics, I see feedbacks when you tell me things to do. So thank you guys for everything, and thank you for liking this video, because I know you're going to like it when you see it, because it's going to be very useful to you, it's going to be very resourceful to you, and it's going to meet you at that point of need. Thank you so much. And also don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. I mean, with your subscription, I get better, right? Everybody that subscribe, I'm always glad you subscribe. I'm always glad you click the button. Thank you so much for everything. I'm gonna see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much, and have a good night. Bye.